knelt in the darkness, and cried out my name, through the night might loosen your grip and allow your heart to grow cold just as the spiritual clock is about to strike. When I said, "The one who endures to the end will be saved," it was not only a promise, it was also a warning bell, ringing for every weary soul standing at the very edge of breakthrough. Have you ever realized how many people walk a long road of faith, only to let go of the blessing at the final doorway? Not because they never believed, but because they became too exhausted to believe one more time. They think I have forgotten them, when in truth, I am completing what I began. People lose heart when silence stretches too long, when promises have not yet become reality, and when prayers seem to remain unanswered. But my child, faith is not measured by how far you have walked. It is measured by how faithfully you hold on until the very last moment. Many souls stop just short of their miracle because they forget that my clock is never slow. It simply moves according to a rhythm different from yours. Can you hear it? The spiritual clock is counting the sacred breaths of time, and every second is whispering, the hour is near. Yet the world remains loud. People stay distracted, living as though they have endless tomorrows. They delay. They postpone belief for another day, not realizing that every hesitation shortens the opportunity before them. The time I have appointed is not a vague idea. It is a sacred appointment I wrote before you were born. The dreams in your heart, the quiet stirrings you cannot explain, the tears that fall for reasons you do not fully understand, none of these are accidents. They are reminders from me that time is not as abundant as you imagine. Still, many dismiss them as fleeting emotions, only to realize too late that they as the spiritual clock is about to strike. When I said, "The one who endures to the end will be saved," it was not only a promise, it was also a warning bell, ringing for every weary soul standing at the very edge of breakthrough. Have you ever realized how many people walk a long road of faith, only to let go of the blessing at the final doorway? Not because they never believed, but because they became too exhausted to believe one more time. They think I have forgotten them, when in truth, I am completing what I began. People lose heart when silence stretches too long, when promises have not yet become reality, and when prayers seem to remain unanswered. But my child, faith is not measured by how far you have walked. It is measured by how faithfully you hold on until the very last moment. Many souls stop just short of their miracle because they forget that my clock is never slow. It simply moves according to a rhythm different from yours. Can you hear it? The spiritual clock is counting the sacred breaths of time, and every second is whispering, the hour is near. Yet the world remains loud. People stay distracted, living as though they have endless tomorrows. They delay. They postpone belief for another day, not realizing that every hesitation shortens the opportunity before them. The time I have appointed is not a vague idea. It is a sacred appointment I wrote before you were born. The dreams in your heart, the quiet stirrings you cannot explain, the tears that fall for reasons you do not fully understand, none of these are accidents. They are reminders from me that time is not as abundant as you imagine. Still, many dismiss them as fleeting emotions, only to realize too late that they have walked past a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity that will never return. My child, what grieves me most is not seeing you weak. It is seeing your heart grow cold when I am so close to completing a miracle for you. On the path of faith, very few give up at the beginning. Most begin with passion, hope, and tears. But many collapse near the end, when the light has already begun to shimmer on the horizon. The enemy knows it cannot stop my hand, so it tries to pull you away from the place of waiting. It makes you tired, distracted, and doubtful. It fills your heart with noise until you no longer have enough stillness to hear my voice. And when you sink into that weariness, you begin to loosen your hold on what I am about to place in your hands. You may think you are only resting, but in truth, you are stepping away from the company of those who will witness the miracle. Many live as if tomorrow will always be waiting for them, while in heaven the hands of my clock have already begun to move. Still, they imagine they have countless chances. They chase work, plans, ambitions, and dreams, yet few pause long enough to ask, where am I in God's plan? I have knocked on the doors of their hearts many times through circumstances, through warnings, through dreams that seemed meaningless, but they keep saying, not yet, it is not time. My time is not a figure of speech. It is a real appointment, fixed before you ever came into the world. And when the call goes out, if you do not respond in time, you may find yourself lost inside the very life I once designed for you. Every invitation from me is not a temporary offer. It is a door that opens in its appointed season. To miss today is to turn away from an entire season of blessing that has long been prepared for you. Remember this: I am never in a hurry, but I am never late. When my appointed time comes, I desire to find you ready, not tangled in distraction, not bound by the noise of the world, not asleep at the edge of your miracle. Do not wait until tomorrow to believe, because tomorrow may never come. My beloved child, have you ever paused long enough to listen to your own breathing? That rhythm is counting the seconds I have entrusted to you. I see you busy, hurried, and consumed by what you believe is important, unaware that behind all those urgent things, my time is quietly passing by. You are absorbed in building your life, caring for every small detail, chasing what feels necessary. Yet you forget that something greater than all of it is at stake, your life in me. When I declare, today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts, I am reminding you that obedience is not for someday, it is for today, not tomorrow, not when life becomes easier, not when you feel more ready. Today. Yet many still delay. They allow the noise of everyday life to drown out my gentle call, until they finally realize that tomorrow no longer belongs to them. My child, I understand your heart. I know how often you want to rest a little longer, postpone a little more, and wait for a more convenient time before giving me your whole heart. But you do not realize that every "I will do it tomorrow" is one more step taken away from me. The devil does not always need to push you into great sin. Sometimes it only needs to whisper, there is still time. It does not have to steal your faith in one dramatic moment. It only has to delay your faith until the door has closed. The thief comes only to steal, kill, and destroy. And sometimes he does not need force at all. He only needs distraction. With enough delay, enough noise, and enough hesitation, you may lose by your own hands the very opportunities I prepared for you, my child. I do not condemn you for being weak. What concerns me is when you become so accustomed to weakness that you no longer desire to rise again. I have given you many awakenings, the restless nights, the moments that shook your heart, the dreams that seemed to carry no meaning. All of them were my gentle touch upon your soul, reminding you that I am still waiting. But too often you treat them as coincidences. You comfort yourself with the excuse, perhaps it is not the right time yet. What you do not realize is that the time is precisely today. My timing is not measured by earthly clocks, but by the rhythm of heavenly purpose. For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you a future and a hope. I have never stopped preparing good things for you, but I need you to show up at the hour I have appointed. Every time you postpone, you are the one arriving late to what I have already prepared. My child, I know there are moments when your heart grows weary because the road feels too long and your prayers seem unanswered. But trust me, you have never been forgotten. I am teaching you to walk by faith, not by feelings. Feelings change. Faith keeps you standing when everything around you seems to collapse. Can you see it now? Throughout the years, it was often in the moments that felt like my silence that I was quietly rearranging your life. If I allow your spiritual clock to move more slowly than others, it is because I am teaching you the value of waiting with me. With the Lord, one day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like one day. My time is not late. It is simply different. And that difference exists, so you may learn to believe even when you cannot yet see. My beloved, the world will always make you believe you have endless chances, that this failure can be repaired later, that this mistake can be undone another day, that this calling can wait. But some opportunities come only once in a lifetime. And when I knock, I long for you to open at once, not to say, let me prepare a little more. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in. But I do not knock forever, because I honor your will. And if you keep staring only at what you are losing, you will miss what is coming. My child, I do not need you to be perfect. I only need you to be willing. When you are willing, I will take care of the rest. There are people to whom I once entrusted a calling. Their hearts once burned for me, but over time, their fire slowly faded because they told themselves, I will live for him again when the time is right. But the fire of the Holy Spirit does not wait for a more convenient season. When I breathe life into your soul, I desire for you to guard that flame, even if it is only a small flicker in the darkness. Do not compare yourself to anyone else. My timing for each person is different. I only ask that you do not allow complacency to extinguish the fire I placed within you. Do not quench the Spirit. When you protect even the smallest flame, you will watch me turn it into a torch that lights an entire harvest. My child, some people think they are truly living, when in reality, they are asleep in the busyness of life. They may not be committing obvious sins, but they no longer hunger for me. They go to church, but their souls have been far from me for a long time. I look upon them with sorrow, because the light within them is fading like a lamp running out of oil. Remember my words. Keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord is coming. Watchfulness is not fear. It is keeping your spirit awake, alive, and ready, so that whenever I come, you will not be ashamed or afraid. You will smile, knowing your heart is prepared. My beloved child, do not let busyness kill your intimacy with me. I do not rebuke you for having responsibilities. I know you live in the midst of this world, but it grieves me when you give your time to everything and everyone except me. When I awaken you with a nameless emptiness, that is my invitation for you to return. Do not try to fill it with work, relationships, achievements, or distractions. Only I can fill that void. Seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. If you put me in the right place, you will see everything else fall into its rightful place. My child, look back over your life. How many times have you promised you would change? How many times have you said you would return only to forget again? I do not remind you of this to condemn you. I remind you to show you that I am still waiting. It is never too late to come back. But do not wait until your heart has grown completely cold before you seek me. I do not need grand promises. I only desire the first step, the one step you dare to take toward me. Like the father waiting for his prodigal son, I am standing at the beginning of the road with my arms still open wide. You only need to turn around. The rest I will do. And when you return, you will realize that all the clocks I placed in your life, the crises, the delays, the wounds, and even the waiting, were all ways of teaching you to value the sacred time you have been given. Every second I give you is an opportunity to love, to forgive, and to live fully in my will. Do not waste it in procrastination or indifference, for one day that clock will stop. And when it does, what remains will not be how much you owned, how much you achieved, or how busy you were. What will remain is the love you gave me and the life you lived in, obedience to my voice. Therefore, my child, wake up. Do not wait for a clearer sign. Every sign you need has already been given in your heart, in your circumstances, and in my word. Take a step, even if it is small. Every step you take toward me is one more step away from the darkness. Like the sower who knows the harvest is near, stand up, because your season is approaching. And as you begin to walk, you will discover that the spiritual journey is not only about how far you go, but about keeping your heart awake in the middle of distraction. Sometimes the real danger is not that you have not started. It is that you are walking in the right direction while slowly allowing your heart to fall out of rhythm. My child, there is something I want you to engrave deeply in your heart. The most dangerous part of the spiritual journey is not when you are weak. It is when you think you are almost there. When you stand in the final stretch, where just a little more perseverance would bring you into the promise. That is, when the enemy launches its fiercest attack. He does not always strike with obvious sin. Sometimes he attacks through weariness, discouragement, comparison, and the noise of the world. I have seen so many souls stop at the very door of their miracle because they no longer had the strength to wait one more hour. But my child, those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not faint. I do not want you merely to begin with fire. I want you to finish in light. I understand that you have endured many trials. I know there are times when you feel I take too long to answer. You pray, you believe, then you wait. And the longer the waiting continues, the colder your heart seems to become. That is when you begin to look at others and ask, why does God answer them quickly but not me? In that moment, the seed of comparison is planted, and slowly it begins to grow into bitterness. My child, faith is not a race to see who receives first. It is a personal journey between each soul and me. I have a unique plan for every person, and no one is late who is still walking in my will. Do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you will reap if you do not give up. I want you to learn endurance even when no one applauds you. In that hidden place, I am testing whether your love is truly genuine. When you feel exhausted, do not struggle alone. Stop and sit at my feet. Let me pour new strength into you. Sometimes I do not ask you to run faster. I simply ask you to be still in my presence. Be still and know that I am God. The world teaches you to be strong and persistent by your own effort. But I teach you that true strength comes from knowing how to be weak in me. You do not need to pretend you are fine. You do not need to hold back your tears. I know everything. I hear every sigh you release. I feel every trembling inside you. I am not far from you in your weariness. I am right there, waiting for you to lift your head so I can help you stand again. But my child, understand this as well. Distraction does not always come through pain. Sometimes it comes through pleasant things, a compliment, an opportunity, or a small success. Even good things can pull you away from the place where I have positioned you. The enemy is subtle. He knows he cannot stop me from blessing you, so he tries to lure you away from the place where blessing is being poured out. He makes you believe you must do a little more, prove yourself a little more, or earn what I already affirmed over you long ago. So you begin chasing what is good while forgetting what is right. No one can serve two masters. You cannot chase the applause of people and keep your heart pure before me at the same time. You must choose quiet obedience in my will or the restless noise of the world. I see you, my child, when your heart grows heavy in the middle of the road. I see the days when you want to let go, not because you no longer believe, but because you have waited so long. I understand. But I want you to remember that every true miracle needs time to sprout. Like a seed buried in the soil, it must endure darkness, stillness, pressure, and waiting before it breaks through into the light. If you give up in the middle of the process, you will never see the golden grain you once prayed for. Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. My child, your tears are not wasted. They are watering the harvest that is coming. I want you to understand that exhaustion does not mean you have failed. It only means you need me more than ever. When your hands tremble, take hold of mine. When your knees are weak, kneel down. Sometimes victory is not found in standing tall, but in knowing where to kneel. For when you are weak, then I make you strong. Your strength does not come from your own willpower. It comes from your surrender to me. Surrender is not defeat. It is allowing me to win on your behalf. There are storms you are facing now that are not meant to destroy you, but to refine what is truly real within your heart. I allow you to pass through trials not because I delight in your pain, but because I want you to learn to love me even when you hold nothing in your hands. When you remain faithful while seeing no visible miracle, that is when you yourself are becoming the miracle. Blessed are those who have not seen and yet have believed. I have not forgotten a single prayer you have spoken. I am only waiting for your heart to become large enough to receive what I am about to give. My child, do not fear when you feel weary. Weariness itself is not the greatest danger. The danger is allowing weariness to kill your faith. Rest in me, but do not leave me. There is a difference between resting and quitting. Resting allows you to regain strength. Quitting means refusing the journey I have marked out for you. Learn from Jesus. Though exhausted on the cross, he still declared, "It is finished." He did not stop because he was weak. He stopped because he had completed everything. I want you to finish like that, not because you are worn out, but because you have faithfully walked to the end of the path I entrusted to you. My beloved child, when you keep your heart steadfast, I will add strength to you. Every step you take in exhaustion is a step I am lifting by my grace. Lift your eyes to me, not to everything around you. When you look to me, you will see the storm begin to fade and your soul return to peace. You keep in perfect peace the one whose mind stays fixed on you, because that person trusts in you. Do not forget this. No turn in the road is meaningless. Every drop of sweat on the path of faith is seen by me. Every tear is counted. Every hidden struggle is known. And when you finally pass through that stretch of road filled with distractions, you will understand what I was training in you. It was not merely the strength to run, it was the strength to stand. After every gust of wind has passed, what remains is not the one who ran the fastest, but the one who kept their heart faithful. So let your heart be still in me, because ahead of you, you will need that steadfastness to walk through deeper silences and greater trials. My child, do not be afraid when the light seems to grow dim. Only in the deepest night does my light shine most clearly. Keep walking, not because you still feel strong, but because I am still walking with you. The place you think is the end is actually the beginning of a new chapter in your journey of faith. There, I will teach you that true faith is not measured only by endurance, but also by your ability to remain at peace in the middle of the storm. Do you know what sometimes weighs down your soul more than the storm itself? The silence. My silence can confuse you. It can make you feel like a child standing in the dark, unsure whether their father is still nearby. You have prayed, you have cried out, you have waited. Still, the answer has not come. So you begin to wonder if I have turned my face away. You begin to ask, have you forgotten me? But my child, I have never left you. It is often in the longest pauses that I am working more deeply than ever. The God who watches over Israel never grows tired and never sleeps. When I am silent, it does not mean I am absent. When you do not hear me, it does not mean I do not hear you. My silence is not indifference. It is the sacred space where I am weaving wonders with threads you cannot yet see. I know pain can make you feel abandoned. When you cry and no one answers, when you are wronged and no one defends you, when you look around and see only the unfairness of life, your heart may begin to close. But my child, do not let pain make you bitter. Do not let your tears become salt that dries out your soul. Every tear you shed I keep in my bottle. Every sorrow is written before me. Not a single sigh from your heart is meaningless. All of it is becoming seed, and at my appointed time, those seeds will break open into a harvest of blessing. You often think suffering is punishment, but in truth, suffering can become the classroom of love. In your pain, I teach you what comfort alone could never teach. I teach you to recognize what is temporary and what is eternal. I teach you to value the small things you once took for granted. When you suffer, your prayers become more honest. Your forgiveness becomes more tender, and your love becomes deeper. I do not create pain to torment you. I allow trials to refine you. Just as gold must pass through fire to shine, your soul must pass through trials to be made pure. Suffering produces perseverance. Perseverance produces proven character, and proven character produces hope. So do not fear pain. Fear only a heart that becomes hard inside that pain. I know there are moments when you sigh and say, Lord, I cannot take this anymore. But my child, that may be the very place where you are closest to seeing me work my greatest miracle. The enemy knows this well. That is why he keeps whispering. If God loves you, why does he let you hurt so much? He wants you to forget that true love is not the absence of every wound. True love is my presence within every wound, transforming it into grace. Joseph was sold as a slave, yet I raised him to be a ruler. Job lost everything, yet I restored him beyond what he had known before. In the same way, you will one day see that what I allowed you to lose was never lost in vain. You do not understand now what I am doing, but later you will understand. Sometimes you want me to speak immediately, act immediately, and prove myself immediately. But if I answered every time you wept, you would know me only as the giver of gifts, not as your father. I want you to learn to trust me even when you hear nothing. True faith is not born only in miracles. It is formed in silence. When you continue to stand firm, even though you cannot yet see the way, that is when your faith shines brightest. I am the one who goes before you. I will be with you. I will not leave you or forsake you. I have promised, and my promise never fails. My beloved child, do not be afraid when tears keep falling. They do not make you weaker. They soften your soul so I can touch it more deeply. The world teaches you to be strong by hiding your pain, but I teach you that weakness turned toward me becomes the truest strength. When you weep in my arms, I turn those tears into oil that anoints your soul. And when you rise, you will no longer be the person you were before. Tears are never useless. They either water life or drown the soul. I want you to choose life. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. I see the moments when you try to appear strong, forcing a smile while your heart is shattered. Do you think I do not know? I know everything, and I have compassion on you. You do not have to hide your tears from me. I do not despise your weakness. In that very weakness, I reveal my power. When you let go, I can finally take hold. When you stop straining, I can lift you up. I do not ask you to wear a forced smile in the middle of pain. I only ask you to keep holding my hand, even if your hand is trembling. My child, stop seeing pain as a period at the end of your story. Begin to see it as a comma in the story I am still writing. When you believe everything is over, I am opening a new chapter. Every season of pain carries a hidden seed, the seed of restoration, blessing, renewed faith, and deeper love. One day when you look back, you will smile and say, "So it was there that God was not silent at all. He was writing the deepest part of my story." And when you finally understand the true meaning of silence, you will no longer be afraid of it. You will begin to see pain as a companion and tears as seeds. Because you will know that every time you lose something, I am preparing a new fullness for you. The sufferings of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. When you keep your heart tender, even while you weep, you are sowing into a coming season of joy. Then you will understand that my silence is not me withdrawing from you. It is me stepping back so you may grow. Pain is not a sign of distance. It is a torch lighting the way for your soul to recognize what is real and what is false. When you learn to see it this way, you will pass through seasons of testing with a lighter heart, because you will know that every time I seem silent, I am drawing nearer than ever. My beloved child, the journey of faith does not end with endurance alone. It leads you into the deeper understanding that every wound carries a sacred purpose, and it is through those very cracks that my light enters. So guard your heart in peace. Beyond pain there is glory. After silence, my gentle voice will come, the voice that only souls who have once wept in my hands can truly recognize. My child, I have seen every tear you shed when you were misunderstood. I have heard every choked sob when you were excluded. I have watched every moment you remained silent beneath the contempt of others. I know this pain runs deeper than words, because it touches the very sense of worth you believed was yours. You begin to ask, if God loves me, why does he allow me to be so despised? But my dear one, it is in the very place where you are rejected that I am laying the foundation for your vindication. Whoever humbles himself will be exalted. You are not brought low to be shamed. You are brought low so I may lift you up in a way no one expects. Injustice is not a sign that I have withdrawn my hand. It is the soil I am plowing deeply, planting seeds of glory that only I can see. I know that when you are treated unfairly, your first instinct is to defend yourself and prove your innocence. But my child, every time you insist on justifying yourself, you place yourself on the same level as those who hurt you. You lower your voice to argue with the noise of this world. Do not repay evil with evil. Leave room for the justice of God. I do not ask you to be silent because you are weak. I ask you to be still because I want the voice of your vindication to come from my mouth, not from your wounded heart. When you remain silent, I speak for you. When you stop reacting, I act, and my word of defense will always thunder louder than any accusation. My beloved, do not think I do not see. Every time you are ignored despite doing your best, I am there. Every time others mock, judge, or belittle your heart, I take note. I do not forget. I simply have not spoken yet. If I vindicated you while you were still angry, you might use that victory to gloat instead of glorify me. But when you become quiet enough to bear both silence and injustice while keeping your heart pure, that is when I can release justice to you by the hand of heaven. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Your waiting is not in vain, for my justice is never late. It arrives at the exact time appointed in the Spirit. Do you know that the moments of humiliation, rejection, and being looked down upon are the very places where I am carving out your true identity? You once thought your worth depended on how others saw you, but I allowed them to turn their backs so you would learn to see yourself in my light. When every door you seek is closed, I want you to realize that one door remains open, the door of my heart. If God is for us, who can be against us? You do not need the world's approval. You only need me to know who you are. When you stand in the place I have appointed for you, no accusation is strong enough to pull you away from it. My child, do not let your wounds turn you cold. Many people, after being hurt, build stone walls around their hearts and call it strength. But those walls do not only keep people out, they also shut out my light. I want you gentle, not bitter. I want your heart to remain like good soil, soil that, even after being trampled, can still bring forth life. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. True strength is not hardness. True strength is the ability to keep loving even after you have been wounded. Let me heal you, instead of binding yourself with hatred. If you keep looking through the lens of bitterness, you will never see the glory I am preparing for you. I do not allow anyone to hurt you without purpose. Every act of contempt carries meaning in my hands. When you are pushed out, I am removing you from places that were never meant for you. When you are slandered, I am teaching you to stand firm without needing applause. When you are misunderstood, I am training you to understand others more deeply. Do not call this failure. It is training. My child, those I intend to use for great things, I often lead through seasons of deep humiliation. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. You must die to the need for human recognition, so you can be born into the recognition of heaven. My dear one, I have seen you try to prove you are right, only to discover that the more you speak, the more misunderstood you become. You grow tired and want to give up, but I want you to know this. Your silence is not weakness. It is strength reserved for the right time. Some things are meant to be proven only by fruit. As time passes, the outcome of your life will become your vindication. The righteous will flourish like a palm tree and grow like a cedar of Lebanon. Let me prove you through blessing, not through arguments. I do not want you to lock yourself inside the label of the wounded one. If you allow the past to define you, you will never see the future I am opening before you. Do not let the contempt in other people's eyes become the mirror of your life. You were not born to answer scorn. You were born to reflect my glory. When I look at you, I do not see someone pitiful. I see a warrior being forged in the fire. You are my treasured possession. I have chosen you not because you are strong, but because I love you. And when the day of your vindication comes, you will understand why I asked you to be silent. When you were brought low, I had already written the day you would be lifted up. When you were rejected, I had already prepared a place where you would be honored. When others despised you, I was laying the foundation for a new position that only grace could open. In that moment, you will no longer crave revenge. You will no longer need to prove yourself. My peace within you will be so deep that you will need no other word. One day, you will realize that the wounds that once made you ashamed are the very places where my light shines through most powerfully. It is in humiliation that I teach you true honor. It is in rejection that you learn what it means to be chosen. What I am doing now, you do not yet understand. But afterward, you will understand. And when that day comes, you will no longer wish to hide your past, because you will see clearly that I used every wound to sculpt a new person within you. My child, do not close your heart. Do not let pain define you. Let me use that very pain as the launching place that carries you into a season of vindication. What you call humiliation today is the red carpet I am laying for the day I will honor you. Joseph was once thrown into a pit, yet that very pit became part of the road that led him to the palace. When you understand this, you will no longer fear contempt. You will know that every scornful word only strengthens the foundation beneath the honor I am preparing for you. And when you rise from every injustice, you will walk more lightly, with a wider heart and clearer eyes. You will understand that true vindication does not come when others change their minds about you. It comes when your own heart is transformed. When you learn to see everything through my eyes, nothing will wound you the way it once did. In that moment, you will enter another season, a place where pain is no longer a burden, but a mark of grace. There you will understand that being despised for my name is not a loss, but a sacred honor. And from that deep gratitude, you will begin moving forward gently, knowing that the journey does not end with vindication. It leads even further to the place where you learn one of the most important lessons of all. Do not fear people's contempt. Fear missing the moment when I open the door to defend you and lead you into the glory I prepared for you long ago. My beloved child, there is an invisible yet powerful chain that binds many feet, the fear of people's gaze. You often fear what others may say or think about you more than you fear grieving my heart. There are moments when I urge you to step forward, speak a word, or stand on the side of truth. Yet inside you, another voice rises. What if they laugh at me? What if someone dislikes me? What if they misunderstand? My child, when you allow the voice of people to become louder than my word, you hand the steering wheel of your life to those who are just as fragile as you are. They loved human praise more than the praise that comes from God. I do not want you to walk that path. What is truly frightening is not that people may dislike you. What is truly frightening is allowing that fear to pull you away from the very place where I long to defend you and lift you up. I know there are scratches on your heart the times you were mocked, looked down on, and called names you can never forget. Those memories have made you shrink back and live small, just enough to avoid being noticed, just enough to feel safe. But my child, you were not created to live beneath the shadow of people's judgments. When you allow one comment, one cold attitude, or one criticism to decide who you are, you have forgotten my voice calling you beloved. Yes, I am the one who comforts you. Why then are you afraid of mere mortals who must die? Why do you forget the Lord who made you? Your fear of people grows only when the image of me in your heart becomes small. I do not condemn you for that, but I long to heal it. Look back for a moment. How many times have you clearly known what was right, yet did not dare to do it because you feared how others would look at you? I stirred you to forgive, but you feared people would call you weak. I called you to step out and serve, but you feared they would say you were showing off. I placed a testimony in your heart, but you were afraid to share it because someone might laugh. My child, if you are still trying to please people, how can you fully serve Christ? I do not want you to be a slave to public opinion when you have been called to live as a child of the King. Small acts daring to confess my name in a crowd, daring to share what I have spoken, daring to stand on the side of truth, are spiritual signatures that show you have chosen me over your own sense of safety. My child, I want to lift you up. I want to bring you out of the dark corners of shame and into the place of honor I have prepared for you. I want to defend you, open doors no one can close, and show both you and others that I am with you. See, I have set before you an open door that no one can shut. But if I open the door and you still stand outside because you fear people's comments, you will watch blessings pass right before your eyes. I will not force you to step through. I invite you, and the deepest regret will not be, I never had a chance. It will be, God opened the door, but I did not dare to walk through it. My child, the fear of people's opinions will shrink as your holy reverence for me grows. When you realize that my eyes rest on you more gently than any other gaze, you will become less shaken by frowns, whispers, and criticism. I am not asking you to despise others. I am asking you to put every gaze in its proper place. My gaze is the one that ultimately matters. I am the one who judges, not people. I remind you of this so you will know that your final worth is not defined by the crowd. When you dare to live according to what I say, even when others do not yet understand, you step into a new realm of freedom, a place where your heart is no longer controlled by anyone's smile or scowl. And if you dare to choose me over human opinion, you will see something remarkable happen. The very people who once despised you will have to look again. The very places that once closed against you will be forced to open. The very stories that once made you bow your head will become testimonies of my grace. I will use your life as an answer to many questions. I will prove that whoever fears me and obeys my voice will never truly lose in the end. On that day, what makes you tremble will no longer be people's words. It will be a holy reverence, a fear of missing what I want to do, a fear of dragging your feet when I have already spoken. From there, you will walk into new stages, no longer bound by public opinion, but with the light heart of a child who knows they are walking in the Father's will. You will walk through the very doors I myself have opened in the very hour of my vindication. My beloved child, tuck my words deep inside your heart. Hold them the way someone cradles a small lamp on a stormy night. Keep walking, because what is coming will not only change your outward circumstances, it will change the way you see yourself, the way you see me, and the way you see the journey you are on. This is not just a beautiful sentence meant to comfort you. It is a real signal in the spiritual realm. You are much closer than you think. There are things I have not yet shown you clearly, because if you saw everything, you would no longer need faith. But today, I lift the curtain just a little. You are not standing at the beginning. You are standing near the end of a stage. You have reached a point where each small decision, each ordinary choice, can determine whether you step into what I have planned or step away from it. That is why you must not despise this moment. Do not take lightly what I am whispering in your heart right now. I have seen many generations pass before. My eyes, so many faces, so many stories, so many hearts that once burned brightly and then slowly faded. I have seen those who were only a short distance from breakthrough turn back out of weariness. I have seen those who gave their youth to obey me, who endured shame, wounds, and loneliness, yet gave up when they were close to restoration. They stood before a field, golden and ready for harvest, but turned away because they believed that harvest was not meant for them. Some stood right at the bridge I had built, yet walked back because they thought the other shore was too far. My child, the greatest pain is not never tasting blessing. It is coming so close and never touching it. It is stretching out your hand, then pulling it back. I do not want your life to become an almost story. I do not want heaven to speak your name with sorrow and say, "That one came so close, but their heart would not take the last few steps." You must understand this. The final stretch of the road is always where the wind blows strongest. Like a long-distance runner nearing the finish line, that is where the lungs burn, the legs tremble, the heart races, and everything inside wants to stop. It is the same in the spiritual realm. When my promise is about to be revealed, the pressure around you often increases, not decreases. The opposing voices grow louder. Unexpected troubles come in waves. Nameless anxieties flood your mind. But this is not a sign that I am withdrawing. It is a sign that the enemy knows it is about to lose. So it fights harder one last time. It cannot close the door I have opened, but it can try to drag you away from the threshold through distraction, doubt, irritation, comparison, and self-pity. It will use everything that has ever wounded you to bring old memories back to the surface, making you forget what I have spoken and remember only what the world has done to hurt you. I do not say this to frighten you. I say it to awaken you. If your mind feels noisier these days, if your heart feels more unsettled than before, it does not necessarily mean you are on the wrong path. It may mean you are very close to a spiritual turning point. I have watched many people trust me for years, only to suddenly allow doubt to take the center of their hearts. At first, it was only a few passing thoughts. Maybe God never meant this for me. Maybe I misheard him. Maybe I have been waiting in the wrong place. Little by little, those questions stopped being passing thoughts and became the foundation for their decisions. They began to act out of fear instead of standing on my word. They chose quick fixes, easier routes, and doors that looked wide open before them, but were not doors I had opened. They accepted less because they no longer believed I still had more for them. My child, my heart aches when I see my children take those shortcuts, because shortcuts often lead to dead ends. The path I choose may seem winding and slow, but it always reaches the destination I prepared. I have also seen hearts become so exhausted from waiting that they give themselves permission to turn aside. They say, "I will take care of myself," because it seems God is not taking care of me. So they step into relationships I did not send. They accept jobs I did not lead them to. They sign small compromises that their conscience knows are wrong, then soothe themselves by saying, "At least I will suffer less than I do now." But they do not realize that each choice is pushing them farther away from the orbit of my promise. I have not abandoned them. They have simply left the place where I had prepared something better for them. I look at them and wish they had waited just a little longer. I wish they had dared to believe that I truly loved them as I said. I wish they had let me hold their hand a little longer before letting go and running after what their eyes could see. My dear child, I tell you this not so you will feel superior, but so you will understand that no one is immune to the temptation to quit near the end, not even you. Yet unlike many others, you are being warned ahead of time. I am drawing you back with my word at the very moment when many can no longer hear it. What does that mean? It means I have not abandoned you. It means I still value your journey. It means I am looking at you with hope, not disappointment. If I were indifferent, I would simply let you drift with your own weary thoughts. But today, I am calling you by name to remind you that you are not an outsider to my plan. You belong in my story, and that story is not over. even if you feel too tired to keep reading. When I say, do not lose heart, for your reward will be very great, I am not speaking empty words. I truly see a reward waiting for you, even if your eyes cannot see it yet. Therefore, my child, receive this word not only with your ears, but with your heart. Do not merely nod and then forget. Let it take root. Remind yourself every day, I am closer to the promise than I think. I will not walk away from the place God has put me. Let your mouth speak differently from your feelings. When your heart wants to give up, that is when you must say even more firmly, Lord, I am weak, but you are strong. I am tired, but I choose not to quit. When your thoughts begin to slip away from my path, bring those thoughts before me and speak honestly. I am doubting. Please heal me of this doubt. I do not despise hearts that dare to bring even their weakness to me. You only shut me out when you pretend to be strong while quietly drifting far from me. Remember all the stages of the road you have already walked with me. Remember the times I rescued you from situations that seemed hopeless. Remember the moments you thought you would collapse for good, yet somehow you were still standing. The moments when you realized an unseen hand had pulled you out of the worst were not merely sweet memories to tell as comforting stories. They were markers I placed along your path so that today, when you feel weary, you can look back and remember, I have never failed to keep my word. If I did not abandon you in your darkest days, why would I abandon you now when the road ahead is about to shine? If I stayed beside you when you had nothing to offer and nothing to boast about, why would I step away when you are about to enter a harvest season? Use the memory of my past grace to answer today's fears. Use what I have already done to remind your heart that I will act again in my way and in my time. Look at your fear and distraction with different eyes. They are not signs that you have failed. They are mirrors showing how deeply you need me right now. When you feel like running away, hiding, or withdrawing, that is exactly when you need to run closer and sit longer at my feet. Do not think you must feel strong before you come to me. Come exactly as you are. Come trembling. I can embrace a shaking heart. I can gather hopes that are beginning to fray. I can lift those who almost no longer want to stand. I am not asking you for perfect faith. I only ask that, in all your imperfection, you keep holding my hand even if you can only hold on by a tiny thread of hope. My child, I say this with all the love of a father. Do not write your own name among those who stopped when only a few steps remained. Do not let the angels whisper, they ran well but stopped just before dawn. Do not let the story of your life end with, they once believed, once served, once endured, but did not go to the end. I want your story to be written differently. Though weary, this one still clung to God's word, stood firm to the end, and saw what God had promised become reality. That is why I am speaking to you now, so that nothing within you can excuse itself by saying, I did not know, no one reminded me. Understand this clearly. What I am preparing for you is not just a temporary miracle. It is a transformation of life from the inside out. I do not only want to change your position, your circumstances, your finances, or your relationships. I want to change the way you believe, the way you love, and the way you see me. What is coming is not a gift for you to show off to others. It is a divine arrangement that will teach you how to truly live as a child of God in this world. And to step into it, you need something very simple, yet very difficult. Do not turn your back in the critical moment. Let me hold you. Stop pulling your hand away. You have come this far. Do not let weariness and distraction steal the fruit of so many years of tears, prayers, and faithfulness. I am here beside you not to tell you a pretty story, but to take your hand and say, walk on with me. Do not stop now, my child. I have watched many people stretch out their hands until they were almost touching what I promised, only to slowly let go. Not because the promise changed, but because they believed the poisonous whisper that I had left them, that I had forgotten their tears, their prayers, and the nights they knelt before me. Some had gone very far. They had been faithful and steadfast for many years. They had sown with sweat and tears. Yet just before the harvest appeared on the horizon, they turned their backs on the very field they had plowed. They walked away empty-handed, then concluded that I was unfair. I looked upon them with deep sorrow. because with just a little more endurance, just one more act of standing firm, they could have held in their hands the sheaves they themselves had watered through sleepless nights. That is why today I speak to you gently but firmly. Not to scold you, but to awaken you. I do not want your heart to fall into the same pit of despair where so many others have slipped. I do not want you to become one of those who stop at the very threshold I am opening. The fact that you are hearing these words right now is not an accident. It is not something you simply happen to scroll past. It is not just another random message in an ocean of information. This is a spiritual appointment I have arranged with you so that, at the very moment you think you are about to collapse, you would hear my voice calling you by name. I, your God, know the slow-burning weariness inside you. I know the kind of tiredness that does not only live in your body, but in your hope, the hope that has been disappointed so many times that you now shrink back from expecting anything at all. I know how many times you have silently told yourself, maybe this is far enough. Maybe God did not intend this for me. Your smile has faded. Your prayers have grown shorter. Your heart has closed itself off from greater things. But my child, the place you call a dead end is often the very turn in the road that leads into a new land, and it is precisely there that the battle becomes fiercer than ever. The enemy of your soul is not afraid of your shallow steps at the beginning. He fears your trembling steps that still cling to me near the end. He is not afraid of your hasty promises when everything feels exciting. He fears your quiet perseverance on the days when nobody sees you. He knows better than anyone that when you keep holding my hand until the very last moment, no power can stop me from completing what I have spoken. That is why he does not waste his strength trying to fight my hand, because he cannot. Instead, he throws every attack at your heart so that you will be the one to let go. He uses everything. The mocking laughter of people, rumors whispered behind your back, contemptuous looks, comparisons that make you feel small, and casual words that pierce old wounds. He uses all of it to convince you that you are unworthy, unloved, and too late. He whispers, "See, God is not defending you. He is not with you like he said. If he were truly with you, why would you have to wait this long? Why would you have to feel so ashamed in front of so many people?" Then he drags out your past, your failures, and your old mistakes, pressuring you to agree with his conclusion, God has forgotten you. My child, I want you to know this. Whenever those voices grow louder than mine, you are stepping into one of the fiercest battlefields of your spiritual life. It is no coincidence that just as you are about to break through old limits, waves of criticism, doubt, and confusion come crashing in. It is no accident that just as I am opening a door, your fear of people's opinions suddenly grows larger than ever before. The enemy cannot lock the door I have opened. He can only make you stand on the threshold and step back because you are afraid of public opinion, afraid of losing your image, afraid of being misunderstood. He cannot extinguish the lamp I have lit for you. But he will do everything he can to make you cover your own light so it will not be seen. He understands very well what I have spoken. Whoever endures to the end will be saved. So his entire strategy is aimed at those three words, to the end. He knows how to get you to give up just a little before the breakthrough, then a little more, and then a little more, until you walk completely off the battlefield while still telling yourself, I am only taking a short break. That is why today, I am not speaking to you with a tone of rebuke. I am speaking as a father sitting beside a weary child, gently placing my hand on your shoulder and whispering, my child, do not believe all that noise around you. Look into my eyes. I am still here. I have not forgotten you. I want you to understand that the feeling of abandonment is not proof of my absence. It is only a mist the enemy blows into your face to blur your vision. The spiritual reality is the exact opposite. When you think I am farthest away, I am watching you most closely. Like a farmer standing silently at the edge of his field, observing every tiny movement of the seed he has sown, I am watching and waiting for what I planted in you to break open. You do not see me rushing in because there are battles I want you to walk through with me. Not merely stand outside and wait for the outcome. There are moments when I allow you to reach the very edge of your own strength, so you will finally understand that your survival has never depended on your strength at all. Do you remember when Peter walked on the water? He took several steps inside the miracle. But when the wind rose, he began to look at the waves, the force of the storm, and his own weakness. Then he started to sink. I was there from the moment he lifted his foot out of the boat until the instant he was about to go under. I was waiting for him to cry out, "Lord, save me." And immediately I stretched out my hand and took hold of him. You are standing in that same place now, the place where the wind blows stronger, the waves rise higher, and your heart trembles more. Not because I have left you, but because you have stepped out of your comfort zone. If you turn back to the boat now because of fear, you may spend the rest of your life saying, "The Lord never let me walk on water," when in truth, you were the one who pulled your foot back halfway. I do not want that story to be repeated in you. I do not want you to become a witness of retreat. I want your life to become living proof that an ordinary, weak person who dares to cling to my word in the middle of mocking laughter and skeptical glances can be lifted by my hand and led through doors they never even dared to dream of. That is why, when you hear these words, I ask you not to listen only with your ears. Let them reach the deepest place in your heart, the place where you have quietly agreed with lies that say, "I only bother God. I do not deserve blessing. There is nothing special about me." I want to cut those sentences off at the root, because they do not come from me. I call you my beloved child. I say you are my treasure, the one I have chosen. I affirm that I am with you. Do not be afraid or discouraged. I have engraved your name on the palms of my hands. How could I ever forget you? Look back over the journey you have already walked. If I have upheld you through so many waves before, could it be that now, when the shore is near, I would leave you to drift away? The only thing that can truly cause you to lose your way is not my hand letting go. It is you choosing to believe the noise over my word. It is fearing people's displeasure more than missing the hour when I rise to defend you. Therefore today I invite you not with a shout, but with a whisper to rise once more. Loosen the cords of human opinion wrapped around your heart. Turn your face away from the crowd and lift your eyes to me. There, in my gaze, you will understand that you are loved far more than you ever thought, expected far more than you imagined, and that a new season is truly drawing nearer than you can picture. Do not let go now, my child. The place you think is the end of your story is actually the first page of the new